I'm Cody.
And I'm Charlie.
And this week's episode of WX4 features
Caroline Aiken, who went to see Davey but met Jimmy instead.
Welcome to the show, Caroline.
Thank you, Charles.
We have Caroline Aiken here at Vega Studios, and we're going to go straight into the questions, so pick out a question.
All right. Oh, my. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Let's read that.
Okay, let's look what that says. Okay.
What was the first concert you attended?
The first concert I attended, I was 11 years old. It was 1966, and it was the Monkees, and Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees.
Oh,
Really?
whoa.
Yeah.
You got to see
I
that?
got to see that.
How old were you?
11.
So,
Davey.
you were what? You were like, because I've heard of the story, Hendrix is on tour with the Monkees. Somehow that happened, and then eventually Hendrix like got off of that tour.
Yeah.
Because 11-year-old girls and Hendrixes with their dads there, kind of a...
Well, you know, there were 5 of those shows planned and only 3 happened.
Oh my gosh.
And he just couldn't even hear his own music because everyone was screaming in the Jacksonville Coliseum, Davey. And I mean, there must have been 14,000 11-year-olds screaming Davey. I was up at the 4th row from the front, which was really awesome because I got to see him. I have good memory of what he did, but he was so not having a good time on stage, you know.
Yeah, 3 monitors, no wedges,
And
just
People screaming.
and
and people
And you can't hear
screaming.
it's the whole reason the Beatles quit touring was because of the screaming.
right.
You can't show up with a Vox amp and expect to overcome that.
Yeah. In
So-
a big arena, Jacksonville
Yeah.
Coliseum. Yeah, it was odd. I don't know why they would even do that. But
I
I'm
think he
glad I
was
did.
just added on last minute. Like his managers found a tour and put him on there, and then you got to see it.
I
mean,
did.
my goodness,
I know.
not too many people got to see that.
Right.
Wow.
So, you were 11 when you went and saw that. But earlier you had said that you learned how to play the piano at a young age.
Right.
And that you slowly moved into guitar. At what point did you realize that you wanted to be a songwriter and that this was what you wanted to do with your life?
Probably when I heard Crosby, Stills and Nash and Joni Mitchell, and those were my influences more so than Bob Dylan, or even though Bob Dylan was seminal, but you know, I didn't want to sing like Bob Dylan. I wanted to sing like Joni Mitchell, and Crosby, Stills and Nash. The harmonies were just gorgeous, and of course they were talking about the Vietnam War, and so the music I first there was Chubby Checker and the Twist, and then there were the Monkees, and but then there was Sgt. Pepper's, and when Sgt. Pepper's happened,
Right.
I was 12. That was just flipped me, and it was about that same time I found Joni Mitchell and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and yeah,
And picked up a guitar.
I had picked up a guitar a little bit before that, and was starting to play guitar at the age of 10. So, you know, so I had guitar and piano under my fingers somewhat at that age. And so I could start learning those songs. I could start singing those songs that I liked. So they were really my practice. You know, that's really where I got all those years of playing 3 and 4 hours a night. And playing all the covers. It was the best practice ever. You know, it was getting paid on the job, you know, to learn on the job.
So we went to your website, which is www.carolineaiken.com, and we found out, I had no idea, but you've worked with Bonnie Raitt and the Beach Boys and Indigo Girls and like all these people, and it's mind-blowing that you actually got the chance to do that. At what point in your life did you actually look around and go, whoa, what's happening? You know, I'm recording with these people. I'm getting to know these people. How old were you? You know, 20s? Or 30s?
Well, let's see. I met Bonnie in '85, and I've really been a professional opening act. That's kind of what I was and am, and love it. It was getting to play for someone like Bonnie and getting to play for her crowd, you know, that is just the best crowd in the world.
Right.
And then getting to see what she does after my attempt, you know, at winning over people who weren't there to see me. There's so many levels of lessons and all of that. And Bonnie just friended me and has been just a sweetheart. She played on my first record in 1988.
What was the name of that?
Line of Vision. And yeah, I had been playing 20 years before I ever made a record. Started in 68 at the age of 13 in a rock and roll band in Long Island called Father Time.
Awesome. That's great.
But I can see the people putting you and Bonnie together. That's a great package. I mean,
Well,
did it work out? I mean, or was there a day like, oh my gosh, this ain't working out? Was there ever that? Or was it, this is awesome, the whole tour?
no, she's so gracious and has nothing to worry about. So, I mean...
But like with the fans, like...
Well, you know,
you said you were a professional opening act.
Yeah, and I have been. The one time I didn't have a really good experience was I opened for 38 Special in Statesboro.
Ooh.
And I've never had anything thrown at me until then.
Oh my gosh.
And I actually won the crowd over, which was, that was pretty difficult. And I was in New York. You know, the thing about being an opening act is sometimes you don't get promoted, you know, if you don't have that whole team and the money behind you, it's real hard to get your own promotion out there. And so I was opening for David Bromberg at my father's place in Long Island, and the lights go down and the crowd starts cheering, and of course they had no idea there was an opening act. And now from Atlanta, Georgia, Caroline Aiken, and the crowd started booing, and I'm standing behind this curtain going, oh my God. Luckily, I lived in Long Island. Luckily, I knew, and I love. I started in Smithtown, Long Island, played Huntington and Roslyn and the city. And so I really got my feet wet in New York from the 60s to 80s and beyond. And so I ripped that curtain open, and I stood there with my hands on my hips. And I just waited. And they started clapping for me. So I was like, "What?"
Set the tone.
Right.
And they started, and I went up to them and I said, "That's more like it."
There you go.
And they
I love
were
this.
my friends after
Right,
that.
Right.
So
Wow.
it doesn't really pay to be a shrinking violet,
Right.
Well,
because you just shrink.
A little bit of time and patience.
That's it.
let's talk
Knowing where you
about-
are.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing currently. New South Showcase,
Yeah.
which is produced here at Vega.
Right.
You guys can check it out. We live stream some stuff. You could probably go to our Facebook page and see the back catalog there. When did you come up with the idea for it? You know, what gave you the inspiration?
No, I have always loved putting people that I love playing to hear their music, create a show, and it's a guilty pleasure. I was the entertainment director at the Atlanta Dogwood Festival for 12 years. From 92, I started working with the festival, and my last show with them was 2005. And, you know, I didn't have to go far to find great music. Chuck Lavelle, Randall Bramlett, Michelle Malone, Mother's Finest, Derek Trucks. All these people played for me at the Dogwood Festival. And I really love giving really great musicians a platform, a deserved platform, and one that is nicely presented so that they are presented in the best light possible. So Chris Shoup at WGA asked me if I would consider putting together a show about 3 years ago. And so I've been working on it for 3 years now.
Well, to close out today's little chat that we've had, is there anything you want to say about your song that you performed for us, My There For Me guitar?
Yeah, there's a story behind that. I was on the coast of California in 1971 and playing my 12-string out in a cove on Tamarack Beach in Carlsbad. And 3 bikers came up to me and said to play a song and it better be about them. And I didn't realize I was in such trouble until a week later they killed a girl out there on the beach. And I found out that they were the Mescaleros, and they had been hired by the Hells Angels at Altamont, and they were the ones that did the knifing. And this was not far after that, long after that. I did write them a little song, and it goes, "Ride, ride your big brass horse, trying to find your name. Of course you run, you sing, you play our song. You can't do nothing wrong." And when I did that, it stopped. I don't know, it made me human to them, something, but they didn't hurt me. So the guitar song, My There For Me Guitar, is about how many times my guitar has saved me.
Awesome. Well, that is that. Oh. Come here. Thank you so much for coming out and having this chat with us.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Caroline, for coming.
Thank you guys for watching. Next week, same place, same time. And now, Caroline Aiken's performance of My There For Me Guitar. To tell me what I think, or to tell me who you are. I only hear what people say, trade all their yesterdays to sing and be a star. And I don't have the heart to tell. It's not heaven, it ain't hell. It's just my therapy. It's just my there for me, my there for me guitar. Yeah, my there for me guitar. Say a prayer for me. Listen reverently to my there for me guitar. Step outside the line, and you're bound to find you're there for me, there for me, there for me guitar. I keep my freedom bound with twine, but it comes undone from time to time. And the only peace I find is gathered just outside the line, and I find you all my there for me guitar. Oh, my there for me guitar. Say a prayer for me guitar. Oh, my there for me guitar.